All right, we're back to the climate news part of this. Tonight's report's a little short, sweet, to the point, but it's time to let the cat out of the bag here. I've been reading a few things. GOP Florida Rep Matt Gaetz, I think that's his name, Gaetz, is preparing to introduce Green Real Deal resolution to contrast with Democratic New York Rep AOC and her Green New Deal, according to Politico. Ocasio-Cortez unveiled a resolution on February 7th that immediately faced criticism for its scope and potential cost, which reached towards tens of trillions of dollars. And that's not the truth either. It's higher than that. A draft of Gaetz's resolution obtained by Politico recognizes risks to the U.S. From climate change, citing Department of Defense reports that identify certain military. It's Gates.
I think it might be Gates.
Gates. Let's just go with Gates then. I'm saying Gaetz. Phew, it's a long day, fellas.
I'm sorry, Jake.
Long day. Climate change creates new risks and exacerbates existing vulnerabilities in community across the United States, presenting growing challenges to human health. Energy lobbyists have seemingly received copies of Gates' resolution, are beginning to line up behind it in support. Congressman Gates deserves applauded for taking the lead and crafting a bold resolution that identifies actionable climate solutions that will benefit America's economy, environment, and national security. Now, they want to, legislation takes wide-ranging approach to cutting emissions through investing in fossil fuel carbon capture technology. New and updated nuclear and hydropower placements. Basically, more dams, more hydro. Hydro definitely is probably one of the better selections. But what I wanted to point out is that we were worried the last time we did a report. We talked about how Republicans, please do not make a a compromise Green New Deal. I don't have a problem with legislature that wants to invest in carbon capture technology, especially when scientists can now convert carbon into coal and reuse that energy and recapture it and reuse it, continue to pull it from the atmosphere. So I'm okay with investing money in new fossil fuel carbon capture technology. I'm also okay with new and updated nuclear and hydropower placements, making the power grid more efficient and granting energy companies improved access to public islands. Nowhere in this Republican-driven legislature does it talk about cutting out gasoline engines. Does it talk about getting rid of airplanes? Does it talk about farting cows? Does it talk about banning hamburgers? Does it talk about just building train tracks across the ocean and taking, trips across the ocean through a train? But this is a responsible approach to dealing with man-made emissions. Now, we understand that not everybody's going to be on board with what we believe when it comes to how small of an impact that man-made emissions have on our climate. But with this right here, this still helps soothe the concern of your opponent who does not want dirty air and dirty drinking water. Well, okay, so let's invest in technology that captures carbon that may frighten some people and take it out of our air. I'm okay with that to a point. I mean, there's only so much we can remove. I mean, thankfully the trees and the plants, they get the rest of it. So I've made this stance a long time ago. Clean air, clean drinking water, that's what man can control with its pollution. It can't control the climate. So if anything, this is a real Green Deal. This is a little bit more realistic approach. Now, a lot of you diehards out there are going to say, well, what did you give up for this Green New Deal? You didn't give up anything. You're putting more money into investing in technology that's not there. Well, it is there. We reported it a couple weeks ago. Scientists have now figured out how to take CO2 and turn it back into coal. I'm sure that costs a lot of money to do at room temperature or at high temperatures, whichever temperatures they were able to convert, regardless of the fact. If we get serious about technology like that, that's not cheap. Is it worth it? Absolutely. We found a renewable source. If we can take all the man-made emissions and turn it back into energy, are you kidding me? How much is that not worth to you? It's a solution. And people need to continue to understand there's a difference between the nuclear bomb and nuclear energy. Complete difference. It's a lot cleaner than you think. Now, if you can't handle the plant and mishaps happen and you're dealing with infrastructure problems, then yeah, you got a problem with nuclear. I get that. And that's the fight we always get when we talk about nuclear. What happens if an earthquake or what? I get it. I get it. Natural disasters. You got to be careful where you build these things. But anyway, so, last week, like I said, I did a report saying, please don't compromise to this deal. But this doesn't sound like a compromise. This just sounds like that, hey, we are willing to be responsible about fossil fuels that we burn. And we are concerned about the quality of air that we breathe, at least, when you talk about carbon capture. So I think this is a great article. Again, just another flag that we can wave in the air that shows that, you call us climate change deniers, but yet we're responsible. We want to see clean air. We want to see clean water. We want to see renewable energy as well, but we want to do it the right way. If you just pull the tablecloth from under the plates and the flowers, you have to have a lot of practice with that to get that to work on the first pull. And really, the Green New Deal, if it really got approved, it would be like pulling the tablecloth off of the table with the plates on top of it. Am I going to be able to pull this off? I mean, this is no man's land right here. This policy, everything that we're talking about with this, no man's land. All right, so this is great. So these next two articles go back to back. Senate Democrat sponsors Green New Deal, and they plan to vote present. And I remember reading this. I'm like, what? What the hell are they talking about? Because I know the McConnell, his strategy for this was to get every Democrat on record to voting for a Green New Deal that would kill the economy and potentially harm the well-being of American citizens all over the United States. This was a political strategy by the Republicans to put these people on record. So the rumors started. We're going to vote present. What? Vote present? What does that even mean? Oh, it means that 57 Republican senators voted to thumbs down the green. Okay? And 0 nays. I'm sorry, 0 yeses. So 57 nays, 0 yeses, but 43 present votes. Okay? So instead of the Republicans trying to one-up the Democrats for the campaign to come here in 2020, the Democrats attempted to spin it back around on them as if to show you that the Republicans are evil because they all voted no for this. They voted no to your children's future. They voted no to clean air. They voted no to renewable energy. They voted no to jobs for every American. This was a political chess move, ladies and gentlemen. And it's only the beginning. We are in March of 2019. Can you imagine what March of 2020 is going to be like? If this is the stunt they're already pulling, we are clearly going to see a climate change debate appear during this campaign. You got to hold on to your hats here, folks. A lot's going to get discussed. A lot's going to get disclosed. And this goes back to also the letter that we want to encourage people to contact the White House. Penelope was one of the first people that got my attention on this, but this is a link. We are encouraging people to write the White House and send them a message. And this is in relation to the letter that we read last week on our live broadcast that was sent to Congress, and that was signed by thousands of CEOs and PhDs that are rooting for this climate review commission. And there is a lot of Democratic politicians out there who are scared to death of a review. Some are even shouting, "How dare you want to review climate science? That's a mockery of science," making it like, oh, the nerve of you to want to review something. And it's the claim I made. Hey, what are you afraid of? If you've been telling us for 30 years that global warming is here and it's because of man, and it's true, you've got nothing to fear, right? I mean, we're going to do a review on the information that's provided from you and your organizations. So there's nothing to worry about, right? We're not going to find any manipulation of temperatures, are we, right? Or are we? Several friends of mine, especially the one person I know who works harder about ocean temperatures and monitors the situation is TSM Solar Observations. He's the first one that brought it to my attention that back in 2015 and 2016, we did not have a super El Nino, as some of these weather people have claimed that we had a super El Nino, but it didn't even fit the criteria of a super El Nino. We had a couple of peak temperatures that reached maybe close to 1.8 above baseline Celsius, but never once did they reach 2.0 or higher, and that's what is creating a super El Nino. We had a moderate El Nino in 2015, 2016. It was moderate. There might have been some times where it might have been a little too warm. I do remember in December of 2015, Cleveland, Ohio, December 15th, I was wearing shorts on the shores of Lake Erie watching the Browns defeat the San Francisco 49ers. And 64 degrees was the high. I was wearing a jacket and a pair of shorts, believe it or not. So I remember it was warm, but again, not super El Nino. This stuff gets hyped up bigger than what it should be. Just like we hear things about how cold it is, and that gets hyped up too. A lot of times we see things, it's hard to find the direct truth. It's hard to find just the facts, and without someone trying to make it sound worse than what it is. So anyway, we'll leave the link on our website for you guys. Contact the White House. It says here is message type. It says contact the president. Click on this, move up, select a prefix, Mr., and then you put your name. I'm not going to do one here, but point is, fill it out, Jake Riley, whatever you want to do there. Email if you want, phone number, hey, why not? You want to give him your address? Sure, why not? I'm sure he knows where you live anyway. And then a little box down here that lets you fill out what you want to say. And guys, I think what we need to emphasize here is urge the president to not give up on this Climate Science Review Commission. Tell him Grand Solar Minimum sent you too. Maybe he'll check us out and understand what we're trying to communicate to the people out there. We do have new research. We do need to review this work. We have proof that the temperatures and a lot of things have been cooked to fit agendas to help fund projects through universities and private studies for several years now. Billions of dollars have been spent on a hoax, possibly one of the biggest hoaxes of all time. And that's why they're worried. That's why the Democrats don't want this review. They know what's going to happen. Otherwise, they would welcome it with open arms. All right, guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back with our weather outlook. We'll be right back.